instructions about this. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Cafe Gallery right here at Gallery Cabaret. Hello, How are you? I'm wearing short sleeves because it's freaking better weather out finally, and that's why it took 2 hours for me to drive in, because everyone's like, oh, weather's nice, I'm driving. And it goes from one extreme to the next, and hello, Joffrey, we got more and more people showing up. And we have, and he's not even here yet, so I'm going to have to do lots and lots of applause for our Sid Yiddish feature this evening. Oh, yeah. I already know that I just can't give you any clue as to what it's like or what it might be like or anything, because he's always that off-centered in whatever he does. And it's always the coolest thing. So I'm pointless at trying to be able to describe what it's going to be like. Always different, always fascinating. But I thought I would start with a poem, as I usually do. I found this one. I have not read this in forever, and I've never read this to this open mic crowd, so I thought I'd try it. Hope you like it, or not. This is called Against My Will. There have been so many times where I have been raped. And not that some story of some man, some quote-unquote man, had physically held me down and forced himself inside me against my will. That would be just too obvious. Not the someone tried to beat me up thing, because that is old news. If you have done the research I have, if you have gone through what I have, if you have lived the life I have, because, you know, I should be above this. I should be a feminist with a capital fucking F. I guess with that in mind, I should not mind the catcalls or the whistles or the fact that the word woman is the word man with a couple of letters tacked on. Like how she is he with an S. Like how we're an extension of them. Or the fact that men first look at me by looking at my breasts and not my eyes. I should be aware that a woman with power instills fear, and a woman with power in a company can still be demoted outside of the workplace, where she can still be downplayed. I can handle the jokes about being a blonde, or being dumb, or being both. I can hear the line always said insultingly that we have to be irrational because, well, we're just so damn emotional. I mean, how can you trust something that bleeds for 5 days every month that doesn't die? Fine. If you want to brush off everything that makes us strong, fine. If you want to say we cannot hold a job, fine. Then we'll just depend on you for money and work on our own jobs in our own time and stash enough our way for our own little nest egg. And how much money will you boys actually have when it comes to the end of your family line? How much of a life are you boys going to have when it comes to the end of your family lives? How much happiness?
Yes.
Thank you. As I said, I haven't read that and didn't even really know what I was reading when I pulled this one up here. And the first person I'm going to call up for the open mic is not somebody that is, you know, objectifying or anything that I know. I swear, you guys are good, trust me. And I'm, you know, think it's kind of cool that this guy actually works at bookstores for universities and stuff. And so I'm really looking forward to hearing from Len. So Len, get it up here, my darling. Come on. A lot of us guys out here are making like long trips from different directions. Must have been fun for you. How long of a drive was it for you?
2 hours.
Yeah, we're on a fun long drive though.
Yeah, I'm a text acquisitions manager at the University Bookstore down in Romeoville. And the Stevenson is always interesting. Yeah. couple of things from the date book. I have been recruited. This one is called Forget It by Brian Looney.
Oh, wow.
Better to be forgotten than trampled. Trampled leaves a horrible imprint. Trampled leaves a memory and a stain. Whereas, forgotten leaves one room for wonder, for 1,000 what-ifs, and they fill up idle spaces. The forgotten can always be resurrected, reconnected, fixed. But the trampled bear their hoof prints clad with dust. Better to be forgotten or even ignored. For the trampled lick their scars and tremble.
And that is from the Scars Publications 2014 date book. That's actually called Don't Forget It. So, and those are some acceptances from the magazines.
And it really is from the date book. I
Yep.
didn't know.
I'm like, don't look at my calendar.
No, I won't. I don't even look at mine. Piece by Travis Green called Across the Grassland. The ocean whooshes beyond the sunset, half visible, clung to these drowning walls. As I look across the grassland, galloping horses, losing eternity into the silent sky. I feel their pain and hear the cry of the waves, their whisper close to my ears, trembling heartbeat, drawing to their dimension, embracing shadowed landscapes. And last from the date book, fittingly enough, The Last Sunset by Hannah Haas. If I cry, will he think less of me? I asked myself, just about ready to give in. No, I can't do this. I have to be strong. My dark brown hair was blowing gracefully in the gentle wind as I stared deeply into his eyes. I knew that I didn't have the strength or courage to tell him goodbye, so instead I whispered, "See you soon." Trying to disguise my expression, I smiled, acting as if I wasn't worried. "I'm so proud of you." Then, too suddenly, the love of my life walked away toward the sunset, leaving to join the army. We both thought it was going to be temporary, but I hadn't realized it then, that he would never return. Anybody wants to read the calendar before I get back to it? Just maybe, well, risk my life. Do a couple pieces of flash fiction. This one's called Alice's Ashes. Alice didn't really think about him that often anymore. A dozen years going by had taken the urgency of her memories with them. Even when the occasional errand took her near what had been their neighborhood, she seldom felt the urge to drive by where they'd lived. And when she did have to decide to swing by or not, well, it just didn't seem worth the time or effort. The unfailing exception came on nights when she closed the store where she worked. Counting the money at the end of the evening, she thought of him. To be honest, it was only while counting the loose coin, never the paper, and then only the dimes, not the quarters or nickels, nor the pennies. Only the dimes, a 20-cent pair at a time, 20, 40, 60, 80, 1, while the free part of her mind sang, "My name is Jan Janssen, I come from Wisconsin, I work in the lumber mill there." And a corner of her heart thought about his lips as he sang with her, as they sat in the sunroom of her mother's house and sang with the recording of Carl Sandburg singing. And then the dimes were all counted, and she forgot again. Once in a while, once or twice in a couple of years perhaps, she thought maybe she should try to find him, see how he was, nothing more. At those moments it seemed wrong to have lost touch. It wasn't as if they'd fought at the end, parting as mortal enemies who would one day have forgotten everything but the hurt and some sundered lover's dementia. They simply drifted apart, the way friends do when life stops changing and there's nothing much to say, so why even bother? Driving home from work late one night, she passed an apartment complex, a dozen almost barrack-looking buildings set back from the street across a few low, rolling hills. In the parking lot by the second building were fire trucks, 2 ambulances. Police cars seemed to be everywhere, with their rooftop lights flashing blue in counterpoint to the red of the emergency vehicles. People had gathered in small groups on the opposite side of the trucks and ambulances and cruisers from the building, some gesturing, some seeming to talk, some just watching the flames, waiting passively for something more to happen. Alice wondered what was going on and thought about it all the way home, through getting the mail and greeting the dog, finally turning on the television to see if there was any news about what she'd seen. There wasn't, and in the morning she overslept. The apartment complex was quiet when she passed, and she didn't take the time to buy a newspaper. A little bit macabre in a different sort of way. This is about the importance of manners. There never seems to be the time for politeness. You know that kid at the convenience store who calls you dude? The waitress who thinks she's doing you a favor by doing her job? No matter what we ourselves do for a living, we've all had rude people get in our faces and hurl a mixture of profanity and angry spittle. Let's not even talk about the fools we share the highway with, okay? They're everywhere. They outnumber us. I decided to do something about it, to teach people that being polite is the main thing in life. I faced rude people down. In no uncertain terms, I told the mechanic who worked on my car that he lacked what my doctor calls people skills. I took the same tack with the girl at Burger Bar with her body piercings, rainbow hair, and attitude. When I forced that old couple off the road and told them they were endangering other drivers, they knew they had to change their ways. It helped, but not enough. The ranks of the impolite seemed to swell. I suspect some, maybe many of those I tried to teach laughed behind my back and reverted to their old ways. There had to be a better way. The kid from the convenience store was first. When he got off work just after midnight, I took him around the back of the building and told him how rude he'd been. On his knees, with a little prompting, he apologized from the bottom of his soul and promised it would never happen again. I agreed it wouldn't and pulled the trigger. Larry and I talked about this the other day. He agrees there's a problem. We'll go out tonight and begin to solve it together.
That's awesome.
If there's any Larrys in the crowd, I'm sorry. Last but not least, a tentative first draft of a piece I was working on for a charity fundraiser that I'm doing. Later, as the sunset fades on the living room wall, they sit in cold blue lightning and the warmth of the fire they've started. In accents reserved for foreign things, they speak of childhood sounds, the smell of sewing machines and Friday bars at closing time, aftertaste of murdered love. Later, after the curtains turn down the streetlight, they write essays in tongues across foreign lands. They read each other in the braille of lovers. They search maps on which there are no monsters. The fire burns long, but not forever. They sleep, pages in a book nestled beneath the covers as the ink dries on the chapter. Later, as the sunrise makes its way across them, they sit almost naked at the kitchen table. Sift the ashes with silence as well as words. Find the embers whispering of kindle and flame, hot enough to weld too tightly, given laters. And later they will lose the vocabularies of the past, burning letters cast in scripts they no longer recognize or need to remember against silent nights.
much.
Thank you.
I feel like tonight, there are papers. There's
Yeah.
somebody's papers, but they're not
I
mine.
don't know if it's set lists or what.
It must, I have no idea. There are numbers, but it is not, I'm like, did I just leave papers? But I did not, I swear it was good. I didn't do it. But what I did do was release the brand new issues of CC&D Down to the Dirt magazine, and I think it's got this really cool cover on it, because this is actually a photo from Eric Bonholzer, and it's this really awesome shot of this clay army in China somewhere, I don't know where. And it's really funny because I just, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna put this on the cover, definitely. And just in this past week, I saw them talking about the history of mankind and the planet and everything, and they even brought this image up. It was talking about the battles and how things had happened in China. I'm like, hey, that's gonna be on my cover. But it's a really, really cool. So I was gonna pick something from here before I bring up my Joffrey on up. And I don't know why, but I got a two-liner here, aka Fundamentalists. This is Crispy Christians by Matt Quinn. Deep, batter, fried in religion, but still half-baked. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Joffrey. Let up the read up.
I'll do three, beginning with the one you have. The poem you're looking for is on the back, upside down, in your upper left. I write the first line big, suggesting a title. Share the strength of tax refusal to dump the patriotic establishment, which is always just kidding about peace. I give this the title, The Cautionary Tale. The epigraph, Sherman Scully, goes to http://peopleslash.aol.com/people/special/0.11859, 17459.2-3, New York Fire Department's chief arson investigator said on TV on 9/12/2001 that internal explosives were used to bring down the WTC towers. Don't call 911 or national security will pulverize the former Sears Tower, making Larry Silverstein $7 billion richer. Just kidding. It was done for Israel, not money. That was already stolen. 2.3 trillion, 5 trillion, trillion, foolish taxpayer dollars stolen right under the nose of Rumsfeld by big bad Wolfowitz, Zach Heimlich, after sending only 100 civil servants to those pearly gates through a magical hole in the Pentagon. Steal away, steal home from the Palestinians, while Jackie Robinson runs 700 bases, some say 1,000, where the sun used to set on the Union Jack, moved from empire to umpire, with Henry Kissinger, Brit spy, conducting the symphony. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. subtitle for this one is Thinking of Marcia. Whilst a regional civil war rages in Syria, already a Zionist success by wrecking the hegemon, as already done by replacing dictatorship with chaos in Iraq, 120 cruise missiles into Libya, and Al-Qaeda de-statifying itself at the expense of Assad's embattled hegemony, all this excluding anarchy, the mother of orderless order. I never thought I would have any sympathy for cops until I see them being bashed and battered in Kiev by nationalists, neo-Nazis, putting 99 in hospital, whilst National Police Radio, doing nothing for Mumia Abu Jamal, lies to me through two speakers that cops assaulting peaceful demonstrators in that Ukraine, whereinto David Duke went to teach his racist American poison, which we may suppose is coming out in that authority-born chaos to align this fragment of a Sovietized Tsarist empire with that part of the West which gets its word for slave from deglorified Slav. Blacks have their problems with language too, and both came to emancipation only 4 years apart, as Westward Ho! was meeting the Russian bear. I don't know what Marcia might think, and whose mother, Martha, daughters Marcia, Monica, Myra, at the time of pre-gentrified Wells Street, was historian for Ukrainians in Detroit. Marcia was not Polish, as the State Department might think, and taught me not to say the Ukraine. It was not a region of something else, but a hegemon now, which might have a claim on a piece of Poland. Part of the idea of rejecting nationalism is not to have a war over it. The way Churchill drew a line in the sand for Saddam to trespass. That's the Anglo-American was Jewish ruling class, which created Kuwait out of Iraq, might have a pseudo-provocation to make wars for Israel, which is like taking this poem back to start.
I don't step in your area. Thank you very much, Joffrey. Eat the mic, she says. Yes, it's true. And I had to read this one, and this was something that was in the Don't Forget It date book that I just thought, after he's talking about, oh, who do we just support in what part of the world and blah, blah, blah. This is a two-liner in the first week of April by Michael Cerullo. I have no idea. Cerallo. It is called What Constitutes a Human Rights Violator, which seemed totally appropriate for this, because that would be a dictator who always did so, but now no longer obeys the United States. Because globally, it's like, right, you know, who do we choose to support at any given time, right? So I'm like, you gotta get the political stuff in there too. But I wanted, before I called up Mark, to read a poem from CCD. And And I see more of the troop for Sid coming in, dun dun dun. But I was going to read this, I don't know why, but this is the first one that was in here. And by the way, if anybody's interested, after the poetry section, there is a Chicago Pulse section. And in this one, I happen to have poems from Bill Yarrow, Roger Cohen, Don Hargraves, and in the past I've had things like from Jerry Pendergast, Janine Ravensloot, Bob Rashkow's been in it. I'm trying to think of other people but Tom Roby or Charlie Newman, or if you send me stuff, GPAs. I mean, if you send me stuff, you could be here here as well. So that's all I'm saying. But this is actually a poem by Dr. Ms. Michael S. Witt, and it is called A Monarch in the Prison Yard. Walking around the prison yard, I spied along the 12-foot fence a monarch butterfly, fluttering along in grace and beauty, a metaphor for deliciously sweet liberty, the monarch butterfly. So incongruous with the razor wire on the top of the roof, the cruel metal barrier meant to stop no monarch butterfly. The barrier is dead and solidly vile, but freedom is fragile, yet so very alive, a monarch butterfly. Thank you, Dr. Ms. Michael S. Witt. I want to make that clear because the first name is Michael, and it's a Ms. and it's like this is Dr. Ms. Michael S. Witt. Anyway, that's enough of that. I have no idea. I was just naming stuff, so please, Mark, come and save me and give it up for Mike. Come on up here, my darling. I think we have to give him a more screedy, crazy welcome for that. You never have to. So come on, give it up for Mike.
Thank you. I don't know, I really didn't prepare anything. I was going to bring my guitar, and then I saw Sid Yiddish was going to be performing here. I figured that was plenty of entertainment. I've been thinking about this. My brother was talking to me the other day about autism, because my grandson was diagnosed with it a couple weeks ago. He's 3 years old, and he's got autism, ASD, or what you want to call it. And another thing, he's got apraxia, where he can't talk. And my brother's talking about it's all bullshit, because it's like anything else, like ADD and ADHD back in the 70s and 80s was a big thing then. Mm-hmm. Kids were on Ritalin. Now the new millennium thing is autism. Oh. He thinks it's a bunch of crap. But I went to Autism Speaks rally Sunday out in Lake Zurich, and it's a real thing, man. It's they're doing a lot of stuff for it right now. They're helping these kids out, and young adults that have it, and they're leading productive lives. And it actually gave me hope for the kid, because when I found out about Tyler getting autism, I think, holy crap, this kid's screwed. He's done. His life's finished. I'm thinking the worst, thing, because he may have muscular dystrophy too, because it's all goes together: muscular dystrophy, autism, apraxia, hypertonia. Because the kid can't catch a ball, he can't talk, he doesn't eat. He drinks his formula, thank God. But I was thinking of his country song, like, my one brother likes clothes, I like cars, I like to buy cars. Mm-hmm. My other brother likes drinking his beer, because he figures, what the hell, we're all gonna die, and you might as well enjoy your life and get drunk, That's the way Kenny looks at life. He looks at life through a beer bottle. And then my brother Brian's thing is everything is bullshit. Everything in life is bullshit. People are a bunch of liars. People are going to shit all over you. Don't be nice to people. Don't say you're sorry to people, because if you do, they take advantage of it. I don't see things that way. Me and my little sister, who wants it all, she don't see it that way.
It's called cop it all.
Cop it all. But I really didn't prepare anything. I don't know why I even signed the paper, but I think it's they're putting me on a new drug, and I think my head's been racing a lot these past couple of weeks. Go from one drug to another drug. But next time I come, I'll bring my guitar and I'll play some songs for you. But I don't know. That's about all I have to say.
Thank you. And sometimes it's good to just come up here and, be able to share shit and just say it out. And that's awesome. And thank you very much. If you're just coming here like this is what's on my mind, that's awesome. And thank you for sharing that. And I don't know why I haven't even read this one, but I'm just doing this because the issue is out of CC&D, and I'm just having to go crazy with this one right now. So before we get to hear Jerry Pendergast come up here, I'm going to show you this one. This is by George Arthur, and it's called I Had So Much Faith. I had so much faith in the politicians that I voted into office. I followed them, listened to all they said, believed in them. I truly thought with all my heart that they were the long-awaited change needed. Now that they're in office and everything remains the same, do they get the same unconditional faith as God when He doesn't answer? Thank you to George Arthur. CCD, and yes, I'll have things that are talking about religion or politics, and I'll probably have some nice foofy, and there was the nice butterfly, I got whatever stuff, and so, yeah, he gave it up for us, so let's give it up for Jerry Pendergast.
Thank you. You just reminded me of a joke my dad told me when I was in third grade about the atheist dial a prayer number. Of course, no one answers.
I like it.
Rewind 40 years from April 8th, 2014 for Henry Aaron. You drove your 715th out of Dodger Stadium. Most fans cheered, but a few groaned or sulked. I wonder if they knew Babe Ruth played with Negro leaguers in the off-season, spoke in favor of opening major league doors. Wonder how much sales of O. Henry and Baby Ruth bars increased back then. If the groaners, sulkers, and authors of death threats consoled themselves that you would never pass Babe Ruth in his beer total, or come anywhere near Hack Wilson's. It is Jazz Appreciation Month.
Yay!
Saxophoning you from the stage to your table, by the window is your ear hard open. I hold a note lifted from the gut to the throat, climb another octave in a giant leap, drummer light on the hi-hat. Top of my range, still driving the rhythm, piano holds steady. Pauses for a measure, bass fading. I glide down in half steps. Your head turns towards the stage. Couple in evening gown, three-piece suit, escorted to the front row seat. Drummer flurries, slows to light cymbal taps. Part one. This is part two. Saxophoning you from the studio over the airwaves as a leader, as a sideman, rehearsing lakeside, riverside, crossing a bridge, voices along the shore, my own breath and bloodstream surfacing. I want to collect them, release them with a wider range, tonal variation, or just better precision. 3. Saxophoning you in your home through an open window or creases in the door. Saxophoning you in your office. I want to introduce you to sounds outside your system. Female non-vocalist. Now this is a little bit of a nod to our feature artist. Side woman, soon to record first as a leader, short solo. one step at a time to stage edge. Quote from the crooner's vocal and up-tempo variation. Short quotes from the stripper sprinkled in. A nod to her with her trumpet to a small group of dancers, one of them waving a scarf, another unbuttoning a few shirt buttons, swiveling hips to long, sultry notes, drummer wading back in on the cymbals.
And you forgot your saxophone in you. I'm saxophone in you. Take your copy, Mr. Man.
Oh, you're missing stuff.
You're missing your copy. I'm not saxophone in you. You're saxophone in you.
Okay. I'll leave that on the stage.
Oh, yes, and you also left list on it. Dance too, so I'll give it to you when I get on the stage. So, and in fact, I missed the stuff that I was going to read a poem, so I guess I'm not going to do that. I was going to read a poem that was nice and flitty and appropriate for our next guy that's coming up here. So, after I do my little dance and say, you might not drink this. I don't. The last guy that hosted used to. So this Crown Royal bag is meant to be filled with your life savings.
My dad liked it.
I know Charlie Newman liked it, but I'm like, fill it with anything you can for a phenomenal feature from Sid Yiddish, and everybody who's doing this, come on, give it up for Sid Yiddish! So I'm going to stroll around to make sure everybody gets this. And just because Eric Esden's coming up next, that doesn't mean that you're safe from this. But ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Eric Esden! Woo! Let's get fun. Yeah. I'm tapping like getting ready to shoot off or something because I'm in an arm.
Hi guys, how are you? I'd like to start from my newest poem, Chicago. I'm still convincing myself to it. Chicago. There's about 2.5 million souls or more along the Lake Michigan shore, east or west of State Street, north or south of Madison Street Long Corridor, living more or less peacefully, colors and races as rich as an entire human array. They work, they create, they live their lives, cutting grass, planting, watering flowers, or spraying bullets, and most questioning why. Having in common love of life, the Chicago vibrating hearts. Variety of music from rock to swing or blues. The beat of the drums or nails pierced through the plank on the construction site. Love, indifference or hopelessness. From outbursts of happiness to sadness of broken hearts. They do have all. They sing, they paint, they dance, they play guitars or compose songs on late hot summer nights. They live their lives immersed in the vital fiber of Chicago city blacks.
How about one in your native language?
Excuse me?
How about one in your native language?
Polish.
I know. Recite one in Polish. I'd like to hear one in Polish.
Would you?
Oh yeah. Much better than
Dziękuję.
English.
Thank you very much. Very nice to me. Summer. The summer is about to begin. Sun is blast, its rays reflected in your eyes. The rays of wild horses, waves of the sea, speeding to the shore, circling the line, no way to be reached. The sun bath painting your skin, hot sand burning your feet, the walk on a long beach, singing seagull over your head, a messenger to your dreams. The breeze patting your face, wind caressing your hair, the time of late night dance, the time of love. The summer is about to begin. You. Being alive when thou decided to be dead. My life an empty bottle, narrow jar, and air imprisoned. My mind, my breath, my heartbeat, the vein and its bloodstream, under control of outspoken Queen Mother Teresa, surrounded by human wasteland. A raging sand attacking your eyes, the roaring wind of the uncontrolled desert. The body and the heart never touched with me, never. The soul invaded by waterfall of dreams. One question not answered, one answer never me accepted. Why couldn't you be with me? Just for you. I don't know who you are.
Thank you.
And me.
Just beyond the stars.
Sun Ra.
The time of my wandering over an errand, in the mood of being calm or exploding, fighting or defending, and all of it for taking punches, the stings, arrows, and lances, the space piercing through my pride, aimed into my heart. Still hoping for the flight over the sea flat, omitting the moon, the Rubicon, no point of return to reach beyond the stars. You, the navigator of mine, give me so cool frozen smile, fire of the border of eyes, the place which will never touch my trace. I'm still going to get with you, my navigator, passing the last galaxy equator to make you be my guest, just beyond the stars. Thank you very much.
I've just realized that this is the first time in like a very, very long time that I've taken the big camera. Which I probably should give the same warning that I always give every time, because we've been hearing a lot of talk recently about the NSA and how everybody's spying on you, and I wanted to let you know that I am in cahoots with those people because I'm video recording this open mic. Dun, 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 so nothing is secret anymore. Everything's going to be out there, which means that if all goes according to plan, because I am short a cameraman, but if it might be a day late, we'll see. We'll try to get it done. We'll have a video podcast and a YouTube clip for Sid Yiddish up by this Friday, and we will have a Poetry Open Mic podcast for the next week as well, on as YouTube as well. So I want to give that heads up to you first. And before I call up my lovely Bobster, which we actually met up earlier, so that we could talk about our feature that we're going to have at Waiting for the Bus in July. And we didn't really get much accomplished, but we've just agreed that we have to get working on something for a feature in July. I thought that I would read this poem by Jane Stewart in V248 CC&D. It is the one issue short of the 21-year anniversary issue. Which, I don't know, I'll stop there. I'm like, this is summer short poetry. Your sail gleams, a silver cloud beyond the seawall. Aristotle's universe is still. Jane Stewart. Yay. And we're getting to think, oh yay, it's going to be like good weather, and so I thought it'd be appropriate. So please, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for the Bobster himself, Mr. Bob Rashkow.
Jane or James?
Jane. Jane Stewart. Jane.
I'm hallucinating.
What's her name? And I'm just tipping this thing over.
Well, John. Oh.
And I realized that I've got the camera over there, which means every time I'm walking back to my seat, I'm like, hi, there's a camera, and I'm just walking in front of it like an idiot. So.
Well, Joffrey passed out the library monthly newsletter, and it's nice to know that Rachel Havayana is still around. I haven't seen her in a while. She's going to be one of the many readers at the Poetry Fest April 26th at Harold, Washington, which I can't go to, unfortunately, with a previous engagement, but all of you try to make it there. Are you participating in that too, Joffrey?
If there's an open mic, I'll be in it.
Oh, okay. All right. Eric Elstein's going to read, Robbie Cutel for a lot of, I guess, what we'd call minor Chicago celebrities. So it's too bad I'm going to miss it. All right. Here's my three. This is my new one. It's called Victimized. He's applauding the title. How about that? It's a hit. It's a hit. The name registered when I saw it. Clearview, it said. Some street in Waukegan. I knew it would bring me back to the expressway. The houses weren't there. In fact, it was marshy. Then I went through a tunnel where the lake rose to meet me. I'd been traveling east, though I thought it was west. A clear view, indeed. Some views are less so. Caverns, stalactites. If not damp and dark, it can feel pretty skin tight. Feel like the devil has just signed your contract. You think that that's something, but it's really nothing. In fact, I was searching to find deeper openings for more wounds and bruises that challenge life's meaning. Much vaster, much craggier than you could imagine. Caves without end, post-historic repression, bend after sharp bend, with a view to the clouds. Yeah, I'm an easy act to follow when Sid and his entourage go. This is called, where is it? No, that's not the name. Sorry. I'll find it.
I'm from Grunge,
All right, for anybody who's seen Fight Club, this should sound vaguely familiar. It's called Effort and Struggle, and there's an epigraph by Chicago's own Dana German. If there are voices, think of something else they could be saying. Tyler Durden disappears in a hall of mirrors. I am left behind again. His poker face, no, this is better. His poker face, like the Cheshire Cat's grin, no longer there to gaze upon. The chips are down and I'm alone with just myself. Why does he keep excluding me from all the bloody revelry? I keep tracking him, stalking through the freeze of night. The city is cold and sequestered, but I look and follow and listen for the beat. How I need you, Tyler Durden. How I must have you for a companion in order to feel that there's a me. I have resolved to take this debris, this speck of dirt, this torn leather glove, this well of disarray, and turn it into treasures. Thanks. And this last one I haven't read in a while. It's called Berry Bar.
More disarray, please.
This is kind of old school and just a dash of eccentric, but not nearly as eccentric as our dear Sid. All right, here we go. The fruit of his labor was not ripe by a sinner. It flourished and salt baths eclipsed its creator. He was born in apartments and raisin split levels. He had orange crush spritzers for breath-minting lung power. We met in biology, plucked apples in the commissary. It almost went peachy, but he moved, was a goner. I spurned watermelons, I searched for bananas. The jungles were noisy, they tried to maraud me. I just want to find Barry, I screamed into no place. He's gotta be someplace. The monkeys glared sideways, taunted me with plantain stalks. Yet way in the distance, a long, endless counter. Behind it stood someone. He looked like my brother. I clasped that blue vision of sand, and water, of Barry bartender who will serve me forever. Thanks.
I will then ask the boxer, would you be willing to take shots now from the stage and push the
Oh, I'm not too good at that.
Okay. Well, all right. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna take pictures of everybody up on stage.
You want to take pictures?
Take some shots of you with that thing. This is my husband's phone, and I'm like, I don't know, let's just take pictures of everybody, so. Well, I'm not that good at it either, because I'm like, some of it's black all the way through. I wanted to say, just to be humorous, that a chapbook was just released from CEE called Stay in Formation, which I thought was kind of groovy cool because all of these things have had covers on them that had fabric. However, for this one, I'm like, I'm gonna use a cycle jacket. And he's like, I've got this artwork in it of this guy, this turrets thing coming out. And I'm like, all right, that'll go with your thing. And I wasn't going to read anything from it, but I did actually want to say before Bobster, but now I'll have to say it afterward. It says, one of his titles of a short poem is called, Before We Cut to Commercial, Do You Have a Joke to Tell Bob? It's actually about Bob Barker or something, but I just thought that was funny on it. Because he has got a lot of chapbooks and stuff, and I thought that I would close this open mic up with a break before the Sid Yiddish feature of reading some haikus. Because I just decided that I was going to start writing 100 haikus and have that in a release for a collection book that's coming out in, he's like, let's take pictures of the room, everybody. But some of them, like, I don't think I want to read these in a feature or whatever, and I don't know, and I need opinions. And some of them I thought were kind of funny. So I was just going to read some of them because I thought of this one. Did you know, this one just is more like a stat thing. Did you know that an octopus has a brain in every tentacle? I heard this and I'm like, what? Actually, their center, they have a brain. You know, our brain, which we probably don't think about it, is telling us, it's actually saying, how do we move our legs in order to get up to go grab something? Your brain tells yourself to do all these things. An octopus has a central brain, and it sees, I don't know, plankton or something floating along. And it's like, hey, to the close by tentacles, go get me that. That's some food. But he doesn't tell the tentacles how to go do it. They actually have a nerve center at each tentacle that starts to navigate and figure out, oh, how would I go about it? So in theory, in a real surreal kind of sense, every tentacle in an octopus has a brain. I just thought that was the weirdest story, and I'm like, I had to be able to share that. I'm like, there are many, many brains in an octopus. Is that what it is? I mean, there's really no humor for that. I mean, it was just like, what? That's actually the truth. But the other one I heard was that another did you know, I'm going to make this screen bigger. Did you know that an octopus has 3 times more neurons than a dog? Because they're actually doing what, I prefer cats, so I'd like to hear that one anyway. But this is a good way to introduce it off, and this will actually be a good thing to say when we've got Sid coming up our feature. How much for your poem? I ask, because you seem to have so much to say. As all of us do. No, really not. This is called Out. Spirits inside you want to come out and scream their story to the world. As I said, just finish a little next week. Although, I'm not even looking for people. I do. How many spirits do you have? We all have too many, and that's why we're all writers and expressionists as we are. But this one's interesting. You always jumped from airplanes till you died of a heart attack in bed. That's actually a true thing. I knew somebody who was like, we're going to jump for airplanes, and he was all hyper that way, and he never got to, but I like this one. Oh, I'll take sadder ones. I'm trying to figure out which ones will I do. I'm going to do this one, sadder sounding one. This is called Study. Study the dying. Lose your past. Lose your future. Study the present. And there's romantic one. This is form. If we're cast in stone, I'd watch your form forever, frozen by your side. And my oddly emotional one, I feel nothing but the intensity you feel. Your thoughts cut my face. I'm going to leave those in. Thank you. I am just, these are the ones I'm saying, well, I don't think those ones are going to want to have in the feature or something. So you're going to hear all these different ones because I can. And in the meantime, you've got 5 minutes, count them 5. I'm gonna hunt you down so we'll have a lot of time for actually a really phenomenal, crazy, wicked, cool, I don't even know how to describe it feature from Sid Yiddish, and I will see you in just